Reds is definitely an intense film. This was released in 1981. It's directed by Warren Beatty and it's written by Beatty and Trevor Griffiths with a cast including Warren Beatty and Diane Keaton. We also have John Ratzenberger as an uncredited communist leader. I'll be honest, I didn't see him in it. I didn't catch him in this. I even went back through and kind of jumped through the scenes to watch it again, and I couldn't find him. But we have a lot of scenes with a lot of extras. There are so many extras in this. So it's possible I looked away at the wrong moment. It's possible I'm not seeing him in a busy scene. If anybody can identify when Ratzenberger is in this, please feel free to let me know. Would I say that I enjoyed this film? I'd say it was interesting. It was educational. It is actually based on the true life of John Reed. John Reed was an American journalist and a communist activist, and this is what the film is about. And the narrative style is really interesting, as we have a kind of documentary style, I guess mockumentary, where we have characters talking about this, and I thought that was a really interesting approach to take, but not for the bulk of the film. It doesn't happen too frequently. Most of it is just telling the story in a linear fashion, but at the same time we do have these other characters sharing their thoughts here and there, which I thought was quite fascinating. I don't know that much about this time period. I'm definitely not knowledgeable about pretty much anything that happens in this, so everything I say, take it with a pinch of salt. But I will say that I learned quite a bit. But I fully am willing to admit I probably didn't absorb the entire film because it is tremendously long. It is over 3 hours. And I feel like either it should have been shorter. I feel like maybe 2 hours. There is definitely a lot in this that I didn't find to be that interesting. Basically, the padding around the main narrative. So it either should have been shorter, or they should have maybe considered doing it as a mini-series, and I think that could have worked a little bit better. But nevertheless, for the most part, it was easy enough to be engaged with the story. I didn't absorb everything, and there were absolutely things in this that wouldn't have meant anything to me. If, like me, you're not that knowledgeable about this time period, then certainly it's not going to be the easiest watch. And this, of course, is at the beginning of the very, very early on in the 20th century, and visually it's a busy film. It is so busy. It's quite well done. We have scenes where they're a little calmer, where we only have maybe 2 or 3 characters, and then in the next scene there'll be about 10,000, and that's an exaggeration, but there are so many extras in this. There are so many really busy scenes, and then we'll get a calmer scene, and I think the balance there worked really well. So we do have these moments where there's a lot going on, and it's a lot to take in, and then we get a time to digest the information as we have a slightly calmer scene. And I think in general, even though it isn't the easiest watch, certainly if, like me, you're not that knowledgeable about this, there are moments when we're given a chance to kind of mentally catch up. So I think in general, it could be suitable for anybody who's interested in watching this, but I would be very keen to know what you think of it if you are particularly knowledgeable about communist Russia and the revolution in the beginning of the 20th century, because I don't know if it's factually accurate. I'm assuming it is. I've not read anything to suggest otherwise. And do you think it portrays things accurately? Indeed, if you're familiar with the career of John Reed, do you think that portrayal there is effective? As a character, he seems well written. He seems interesting enough. But obviously I can't comment on whether it's an accurate depiction of the real John Reed. So if anybody has any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. Do I recommend this? Maybe. If you're particularly interested in primarily this time period known as the October Revolution, if you're interested in the October Revolution, then yes, I'd say it's worth watching. Again, I don't know if it's accurate, but certainly it's educational while taking it with a pinch of salt. If you're interested in any of the cast, but you're not that familiar about the topic, absolutely it's watchable. As I said, it's an intense experience, not an easy watch, but it's not too challenging to follow because they do give us those periods when we have time to calm down a little bit and gather all of the information we've just had from a previous scene, and then it picks up again. So it is watchable, but fully willing to admit that I'm sure there are a lot of things in this that just went completely over my head. But in general, apart from the length, I do think it would have worked better as a miniseries. I feel like there's a lot going on It's a lot to take in, but the performances are very good. Visually, it's very impressive. It's a decent film. I wouldn't watch it again unless I'm suddenly particularly interested in this and want to use it as a source of knowledge, in which case, yes, I'd be quite happy to watch it a second time. But as a one-time watch, didn't mind it, only really watched it for Ratzenberger, didn't find Ratzenberger in this. So if anybody can identify when he is in, please let me know and I will happily go back and check out that moment or those particular moments. Reds is an intense experience. It's not the easiest watch, but we have some great performances, brilliant cast. I definitely learned a bit. I can't comment on how accurate it is, both in terms of the time period and on the career of John Reed, but as I said, I haven't read anything to the contrary, so I'm assuming there must be some truth and accuracy in this. All of that being said, I guess I can sum up by saying it's not the easiest watch, but if you're interested, check it out. There'll be bits of it you enjoy. Maybe you'll enjoy the whole thing. And for me, while I doubt I'd watch it a second time, I didn't mind watching it once.